The library always seems cooler than the rest of the building. Probably to keep the books from getting damaged by excessive heat and humidity. Books are sturdy objects, but if you want to keep them in good condition, it takes a little effort. I've got several books that are so well worn the pages are barely clinging to the spine. Seems impossible for them to still be usable, but if you handle them with care, I make my way to the main desk where I spot Yuko busying herself with something or another. She smiles at me as I enter and wave. Hello, Hisao. Good to see you again. What were you looking for this time? Nothing particular, I guess. I just didn't really feel like going back to my room is all. Yuko nods. Well, if you're unoccupied, maybe you could help me look for something. Sure, what do you need? Yuko brings a finger to her lips and looks around fervently. She seems to be looking for eavesdroppers. Come closer. I take a few hesitant steps forward, and while feeling distinctly unnerved, Yuko lowers her voice to a confidential whisper. I'm on the trail of the Yamaku cat burglar. Say what? Shush, the walls have ears, Hisao. Or they might. But listen, those missing books, remember them? Yeah? Well, they weren't missing. They were stolen. I'm convinced of it. I don't want to talk to that guy, though. I remember you saying something of this sort earlier, but how do you know? Yuko leans in closer, and if possible, whispers even lower. Because I found one of his hiding places. You did what? Yuko looks triumphant. Found one of his stashes. It was under one of the stairwells in the boys' dorm. 3 books I'd been looking for. All 3. All there. I'd suspected a thief before, but this proves it. So, did you take back the books? Yuko looks as if I just suggested she walk around naked. Are you nuts? He can't know I'm onto him. He might go around and evade capture. Uh-huh. So what do you need my help with, then? Yuko casts another glance around the library and leans in closer. You've got a spy for me. Spy? Yeah, like when you're in the dorms, you know? Keep an eye out for suspicious activity. What constitutes suspicious, anyway? I mean, Kenji's a pretty suspicious dude, and he's definitely the guy who's doing this. But I'll wager he barely goes to class, much less sneak into libraries to pilfer books, even though we already know that he did. Still, what's the harm in saying yes? At the least, it'll get me out of this weird conversation. Yeah, I can do that. No problem. Yuko straightens up and claps excitedly. Great! Now, hurry up and talk about something else in case someone comes in. How's the school treating you? Pretty well, actually. I've been running in the mornings with Emi Ibarazaki, right? Yeah? How'd you know? I served you 2 in the tea house, remember? I deduced that if you were going to run with anyone, it'd probably be her. She looks pleased with herself. Impressive. Anyway, yes, we've been running in the mornings. And, we kinda started dating. Yuko claps her hands together excitedly. Really? That's great. I'll bet you 2 are great together. I love seeing people find one another like that, you know? I even thought to myself when you walked into the Shanghai that one time, I wonder if that kid will wind up with one of those girls. Really? Yuko doesn't seem to notice my somewhat weirded out tone and nods affirmatively. Yep, I can tell that you'd wind up with one of them, you know? I've got an eye for that sort of thing. Of course. Her expression droops slightly. I'm not so good at it myself. I'm sure that's not true. Oh, it's true. I met this guy once. We got along really great, but it turned out he was younger than me. And that was kind of weird, but not terribly so. What was really weird was that he disappeared one day, and I've not seen him since then. That does sound kind of odd, doesn't it? I hope it wasn't something I did. I feel compelled to reassure her. I'm sure it wasn't. I intend to try and calm her down further, but the both of us jumped to surprise at the ringing suddenly coming from my pocket. Or her pocket, or something. No, the surprise of the ringing suddenly coming from my pocket. Yuko sighs to steady herself as I pull the phone from my pocket. I feel a little sheepish for indirectly causing the incident. So wait, you have a cell phone? Okay, apparently you exchanged numbers at some point. Emmy, what's up? Oh, thank God, I haven't called your phone before, so I didn't know if this number would work or whether you would pick up, and I can't. Uh-oh. Whoa there, Emmy, slow down. What's wrong? There's a pause on the other side of the line, during which I can hear Emmy trying to control her breathing in order to calm down. Something's gotten her terribly agitated, and it's starting to agitate me. Can you stop by? Like now? Or shortly after now? I really, really need to talk to you. There's a tone of pleading in that last sentence that I don't think I've ever heard from her. Of course, I'll be right there. Hold steady, okay? In my increasingly agitated state, I'm apparently started saying things that don't quite make sense. Okay, I'll be okay. See you soon. I press the button to end the call before slipping the phone back into my pocket, apologize to Yuko for running off, and I run off. Perhaps at some point I would have stopped to think about the time, or how suspicious it looks for a guy to enter the girl's dorm at this hour. Except right now, I'm just concerned with getting to Emmy and finding out what's wrong and how I can help her. I knock on the door and am greeted with a subdued, "Come in." We didn't even really know where she was, actually. Something is very wrong as I stare at the scene before me. Emmy's there, yes, but she's in a wheelchair, and her legs are missing. More than normal? I glance around the room and see them sitting in a corner, like they've been thrown there. Emmy responds to my entrance with a lopsided grin that is both pleased to see me and completely, utterly heartbroken. Hi, Hisao. Looks like she's been crying, but if she was, she stopped now. I notice that I'm a little out of breath, having taken the stairs 2 at a time in order to get here. My heart doesn't seem to mind the strain, though. I file this happy fact away for later consideration. Like when I'm not staring somewhat dumbstruck at my girlfriend in a wheelchair. Realizing I've still not responded to her greeting, my brain lurches into gear. Emmy, what happened? Guess I should have listened to you, Hisao. My leg's got a nasty infection. I'm not allowed to run on it for at least a couple of weeks. Ooh! She gives a bitter laugh that shouldn't be coming from her. I can't even walk on it. I could have used a crutch and kept one of my legs, but I didn't see the point. Why hop when you can't run on one leg? At least this way I can still, I don't know, roll fast or something. Yeah, that's good, right? My awkward attempt to look on the bright side seems appreciated, but not really effective. Emmy shrugs again. It's just kind of a nuisance. I mean, we can't even eat up on the roof now. No wheelchair access. Yeah, but that's not a big deal, right? I mean, we can still eat together, and that's the important thing. That lopsided grin again. It hurts to look at. I suppose so, yeah. But like I said, it's a nuisance. I mean, I haven't really used a wheelchair in, she thinks for a minute, maybe 7 years? Something like that anyway. A long time. I'm afraid I'm a bit out of practice. Well, fortunately, it's only temporary, right? Emmy nods. Oh yeah, of course. It's not like I've lost them permanently. But it's a pain in the ass all the same. I nod sympathetically. There's not much else I can do, after all. What am I gonna do? Say? What am I gonna do? Say I told you so? Although I did tell her to get that leg looked at. But by the time I noticed it, it was too late anyway. Do you need help with anything? That is, can I help with anything? Emmy shakes her head, and there's a bit of her usual grin back. Nah, I can manage fine by myself. Although if you want to help me over to my bed, it would save me the trouble of rolling over there myself. I blush in spite of myself. Emmy giggles. You're such a prude, Hisao. I'm not a prude, I just wouldn't want to take advantage of a young woman such as yourself. It's ungentlemanly. It's true. I wheel Emmy's chair to her bed and easily scoop her up and deposit her there. She's got to weigh like 80 pounds at best. She quickly sorts herself out and sits on the side. She's actually a little heavier than she looks. Okay, that's rude. It would be rude of me to observe this aloud, of course. Man, you're kind of heavy. Wow! Emmy hits me with a pillow. Ass. Just saying is all. Must be all that running. Got that muscles. At that mention of running, Emmy's grin falters slightly. Well, I guess I won't have to worry about that for a bit, huh? Maybe I'll lose some weight. That's what you do to lose weight, right? Cease physical activity? I'm pretty sure that's what the nurses would recommend. Speaking of which, are you going to still be showing up in the mornings? I'd hate to run a low. Ah, crap. Emmy's sudden interjection, more a disquieted muttering than anything too profane, causes me to look over in shock. She's leaning forward, trying to cover the fact that she's crying by covering her eyes with a hand. Of course, the subdued sobbing makes it pretty obvious that she's crying. Hey, I'm sorry. Forget I said anything, okay? I place a hand gingerly around her and pull her close. I can think of nothing else to say or do. How do you comfort someone who's just lost their legs again? Emmy wraps me in a hug and stays that way for a while. Sorry. I'm pretty bad at this whole comforting thing, I guess. Don't say that. I'm fine, really. Her voice is slightly muffled by my chest. I pat her head reassuringly. That's the spirit, right? You'll get through this fine, I know it. Besides, I'm here to help you, remember? Emmy lifts her head and stares at me with tear-stained eyes. Can you? Can you really? She's grinning lopsidedly, and something sparkles in her gaze. I can't tell if I'm being mocked or not. Of course. I mean, sure, you're ow! Of course, I mean, okay, ow. My witty comment is cut off by the sudden press. Oh, that very on me. I'm caught off guard and rewarded by hitting my head on the wall behind her bed. Ow. Emmy pulls back, trying to look concerned rather than like she's about to laugh. You okay? Sorry. I rubbed my head ruefully and grinned back at her. Caught me off guard there. Is that gonna become a habit? Am I gonna be lectured by Shizune and Misha more? As the mention of the duo, Emmy giggles. Honestly, those two. If I didn't know why, I'd be utterly confused as to why she hangs around with someone so bossy. Which one are we talking about? You know exactly which one, Hisao. Misha's hardly bossy. So, what's the reason then? Huh? A reason why Misha hangs around Shizune? Emmy waves my question off with a smile. No idea. They're not that close. I'm gonna have to investigate that at a later date. Anyway, you seem to be forgetting the original question, don't you? Oh yeah, I guess I am. You wouldn't mind giving a guy a little warning, would you? Otherwise, I'm liable to wind up with a concussion. I emphasize the point by rubbing at the back of my head. She does seem to tackle you a lot. Emmy giggles madly. You could wear a helmet. Some kids here do, you know. Or I could just take revenge. I grab a pillow from beside me and whack Emmy over the head. She dies. This has gotten much darker than I anticipated. Emmy topples off the bed and lands on the floor with a thump. Her arms promptly reappear on the bed and she manages to pull herself back up. She really has a surprising amount of strength in that little body. Her face is turned downwards and away from mine, making me think I might have accidentally hurt her. Emmy, you okay? You didn't hurt? Yeah! A hand shoots up and grabs my collar. She pulls me in with a sharp tug, her face now barely an inch away from mine as she grins cheekily. Emmy? Ow! She gives me a sharp headbutt. Our foreheads making quite a loud thud. Ow! Okay. Damn. You win. I sit back and rub my now sore head as Emmy smirks victoriously. How's that for revenge? No fair! You can't take revenge for revenge. For someone missing most of her legs, Emmy's surprisingly agile. I swipe at her, but she deftly rolls out of the way and lands a hit with her pillow. Of course, the odds are against her. I can stand up for starters. Oof. Well, that's a picture. Guess I can't. After all, Emmy seems to have effectively tripped me up and is now sitting primly astride me as I lay on my back. I'm not even sure how she managed it. I win! Her eyes twinkle mischievously. I've been thoroughly defeated, and by a girl that's a fraction of my size at that. And again, being defeated doesn't seem quite so bad. Emmy being positioned over my voice isn't something that I or my body can ignore easily. Oh boy! I open my lips to speak, but Emmy's head darts downwards before I can get so much as a word out. Okay, grab the coin, squeeze the coin. I give no resistance to the mouth of mine, not that I would want to. This is different somehow. Uh-oh. Okay, I think we're going a little bit further. Okay. This is what I've been training for! She pulls back, nips on my lower lip, and reinitiates the embrace. Her tongue starts to step. I'm not exploring. I feel the war spreading in the body as my heart begins to beat faster. My eyes start to go foggy, and I become vaguely aware of my hand. Oh, God. Okay. This is happening. Oh, boy. You guys are gonna have to meet me halfway here, okay? I read it. There it is. Emmy gasps as a thing happens, and there's a giggle, and then I stare up, grimming at Emmy. Oh boy, what's happening? Told you. That makes my second win now. What? That doesn't count. You used your feminine wiles. All's fair in love and war, right? Ha! And you're even blushing. I didn't know you were a blusher, Hisao. You were blushing too, you know. Probably because of your prudish ways. Even I've got to admit that this is a stupid thing to say to a woman who's a few seconds ago blank says. A prude, am I? Oh. Okay. I hesitantly advance forward. Well, then let's see who blushes first, shall we? We're about to learn where this is about to go. Not sure whether the tone of her voice terrifies or arouses me, but that question is quickly made rather moot. Is that a chinchilla? Okay, so obviously I'm censoring this! Okay! The degree of which they are censoring adult content is not as much as I had previously anticipated. I feel like they might have jumped ahead of the scene. I'm not sure how I'm censoring this, actually. Okay, so I feel like it's pretty clear they did something here. Okay. Oh, God, I have, like, full body itches. Oh, God, my back and my head and my arms are all itching. Okay. Oh, wow. Yep, I'm trying to avert my eyes now. I didn't notice. Did I? Emmy shrugs, still breathing a little heavily. Didn't notice either. Well, maybe we should. And now Rin is here. I need to use your window. My first instinct is to hide, but then I realize that I'm still utterly exhausted, and I'm still reading stuff. I don't know how I'm censoring this, but I'll figure something out. And sitting next to a topless Emmy, so there's no running anyway. Rin's eyes pass over Emmy and me and focus on the window. There was a cloud. A cloud? Rin nods. I was watching it from my window, but it didn't stay in my window. So I need to use your window. Emmy shifts a little, causing me to cough in order to cover up a giggle of my own. How long do you need the window for? We're, busy? This time I can't contain my laughter. Rin ignores both Emmy and me and peers out the window. Her shoulders slump and she looks disappointed. It changed into something else. Disappointing. Emmy is having trouble keeping a straight face. Sorry to hear that, Rin. Could we have a little privacy now, please? I feel like they would have gone into significantly more detail and probably advanced CG pictures if I had not checkmarked disable adult content. But this is still adult content. Luckily, I mean, it's no less than anything I've witnessed when I played God of War all those years ago. So, I mean, working around it. It should be noted that I'm actively not looking at the screen, just for the record. Rin shrugs as if to say, can you? And hooks her foot around the door, pulling it closed behind her. That's impressive. We both dissolve into rancorous laughter, unable to deal with Rin's bizarrely timed visit any other way. After our laughter dies down, I look to Emmy. We're both a total mess. Well. Okay, this is gonna sound really freaking weird. I'm not sure exactly what it is that they did, because it looks like she's still wearing underpants. That's all I'm saying. I don't know. Emmy raises an eyebrow. Well, again? Emmy grins and laughs, and then she nods. We should probably do... What? You're mostly already doing that! Well, that just freaking happened! The sunlight breaks through my window shortly before my alarm ruins the morning silence. I feel sore. The events of the previous evening suddenly intrude upon my consciousness, and I find myself blushing. I'm sure people that have played the game know. Honestly, I don't really know if not having hard confirmation makes the situation run rampant in my brain more or not. Either way, they clearly did something. That was an eventful evening, and it explains perfectly the soreness in my lower back. Okay, the walk back, as I recall, had been rather tense. Adjustments, I kind of had to wash them in the bathroom for going back to my room. Wow, okay. Okay. They're still feeling for me. The only person I ran to on the way back was Kenji, and that guy can't see. And he doesn't notice anything. Well, apart from being in the general vicinity. Of course, he asked how the night went and whether or not I'd learned anything of importance. I don't even know if I opened my mouth to answer. I was too tired to care. And this morning, I'll admit that I'm feeling pretty worn out. Still, Emmy had promised to meet me at the track, and I'd hate to disappoint. She is indeed waiting for me as I arrive, doing her best to look cheery, despite the fact that she's sitting in a wheelchair. I wave to her and begin stretching. You're early. Emmy frowns and shakes her head. Ridiculous. You're late. Overslept, Tasao? All tuckered out? Well, at least she seems more like her old self. I dropped my coin because I'm fidgeting with it so hard. She doesn't seem that shy about mentioning our previous activities. Hey, you're lucky I could show up at all. All that cardiovascular activity. I nearly thought I'd have to see the nurse afterwards. That would have been awkward. Emmy laughs out loud, and her face suddenly becomes concerned. Hey, that's not a... I mean, you're not... Go on, spit it out. It's just that it would be hard to explain if you had an episode while we were... Oh. Oh! Now that she mentioned it, this really is a legitimate concern. You probably should have thought of that before you let that all happen. Just saying. I certainly hadn't thought of it last night, of course. Other more pressing concerns had been at hand. Well, I don't think anything we do is going to be more of a strain than these morning runs, and I handle those fine, so... Emmy considers the point. That's a new expression. A devious light appears in her eyes. Watch your tongue, Emmy. Say. The light vanishes and Emmy grins ruefully at me. I can't help but feel vaguely suspicious. I seem to have forgotten a pair of gloves. What do you need gloves for? Emmy indicates the chair upon which she is seated. For this, of course. Sure, regular moving around is all well and good without them, but I want to be able to get a good workout. And to get that kind of speed, you gotta have gloves if you don't want blisters. So what, are you wussing out on me then? Do I have to go it alone? Emmy thinks for a minute, or pretends to think. If I remember right, there's a spare pair or two in the track shed. So she does seriously want to do it then. But in her normal school uniform? I'd have expected her to wear a gym outfit for something like this. Wait, what are they doing there? Emmy looks askance at me. Seriously? You can't think of why a shed full of track supplies at a school for the disabled would have racing gloves? Well, when she puts it that way, I suppose that makes perfect sense and I sound kind of stupid. Hey, I'm still getting used to this place. Give me a break. I guess I can let it slide this time. Now, come on. I'll need your help. Can't imagine what for, but then again, I didn't have a clue why racing gloves would be in the shed, so I'm not willing to press the issue. Emmy navigates her way to the shed easily enough, though I can hear her grumbling under her breath. It's actually kind of cute. I hurry a little to reach the door first. Opening it will be easier for me than her. The door opens and Emmy starts to wheel inside, only to come to a sudden halt at the doorway. Seems the door sill is slightly too high for her to get over by herself. She makes a few runs at it unsuccessfully before crossing her eyes and glaring at the offending object. Stupid wheelchair. Sal, could you give me a hand here? Sure, no problem. It's a simple enough matter for me to bump Emmy over the doorway, jostling her slightly. Hey, easy there. Oops, sorry. It's about this time that I fail to notice where I'm going and run Emmy's chair into a mat. Acrobat! She gives a startled yelp and topples forward out of her chair. There's a moment of silence as I gaze in horror upon what I've done and Emmy glares at me. Hey, Sal! Yeah? Promise me you'll never work at a hospital. Sorry, I didn't mean to. Emmy giggles and holds up a hand. Would you kindly help me back into my chair, Hisao? As I bend down to pick up Emmy, she grins in triumph and pulls me to yes, that quickly has us both entirely unconcerned about getting her back into the chair. In fact, as I move to a more comfortable position, I confess that the chair is pushed out the door, which startled by the passage swing shut. Ah, what the? Okay. Well, I guess that would explain the grinning. Okay. Oh, wow. Okay, so I know I was told ahead of time what to sort of expect, but wow. I'm really going to have to think about how I'm going to approach a lot of this. Got some privacy now, which is a good thing. Okay, so apparently he was already in the know about that. I'm the only one in this entire situation caught off guard by what's happening in this situation. Guys, I have done remarkably well when it comes to reading, okay? I'm still reading. I'm working on it. I am working on it. But you can read it. It's all there for you. Starting to discover this. Did we plan this? Oh, boy. Jeebus. Jeebus, have mercy. Yep, these are all things that are happening, and I am reading them. I once again, as I still try to divert mine eyes, I'm hoping and assuming that this isn't going to be the rest of the game. Do you now? I am curious. What could this be all about? Well, back, oh, come on! Every time I think I can maybe read something, it turns out I can't. Words. Words are definitely scrolling upon thine screen. She doesn't actually wear gloves. That is a shocking revelation. I'm going to dial back my uncomfortableness, and I'm merely going to try to make as many jokes as I possibly can to hide this fact. Just to her face. Yeah, I guess that is how that would happen if you happen to be doing that at the same time. Should have known. Yes, words definitely would become irrelevant in this given situation, wouldn't it? OBKB, KBOB. All right. Really is dawning on me just how little checking that little box at the beginning of the game really didn't help. It really didn't help. And it's moving back, rolling and wrestling, as he does what he does, and his things do what they do, and he doesn't even know where they are anymore. What? That's silly and crazy. All right, and land on something small and rather hard. I assume perhaps a tennis racket, maybe a lacrosse stick. I don't even know what those are called. Hey ho, how about some sports you never knew anything about? What is lacrosse as widely played as popular fiction implies? Because I noticed that it comes up a lot. Yep, she do be making herself a many a giggle at what she's doing. Sorry, I'm sorry. Are you all right? Yeah, I think so. Not sure what I landed on, though. All right. I reach under my back and pull the offending object out, inspecting it closely. This is going in a direction that I'm not comfortable with. I'm sorry, I'm really not trying to be this way. Now you know why. How long have I had this on my Patreon list? Like 3 years? Once I was told stuff like this happens, without being told what happens, this is why I've been working my way up to it. Wait, what? Emmy's eyes shoot upwards, and she begins, if possible, to laugh even harder. Somehow, I don't think that this isn't track related. Why would you know that? What? It's the track captains. Ah, my old nemesis, or kind of. How'd you know it's his? It appears that I've asked a stupid question, or at least Emmy thinks so, because he's the one who told me the track place was a good place for. What did he call them? I don't know. Am I gonna have to censor that too? Okay, well, that's about as official of a term as you could possibly make out of it. Fair enough. Oh, he invited you to one or something? Emmy burst into more laughter. One day this scene will end. Okay. Once again, my eyes are laser focused solely on the words. End conversation and go back to whatever was going on, despite the rather pointed questioning. Is how the track captain's gay? Oh. Well, that would explain the certainty. Huh? Really? And here I thought you two were a couple. I did have a crush on him when I first joined up, but he wasn't interested for the aforementioned reasons. Obviously. But we are good friends, I guess. I mean, he told me about all this, you know. I hesitate to ask. Yeah, how good of a friend do you need to be to say... Hey, by the way, the tool shed... And really, I do, but I ask anyway. Okay, we're we're... Hardline, 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 hardline. I'm not good at whistling. We may never know. Good on him. Glad he's out there having himself a grand old time. Good times for everybody. Probably, sure. Let's say it is. Okay, I don't know if I can even have that one on screen. I don't know how anyone is even gonna respond to any of this. Okay. Can you believe that lesser things made me even worse than this at one point? Try to suppress a snicker. I fail. Emmy's giggling too. And he tells you about all of this. Emmy shrugs. Yeah, of course. He's kind of... Congratulations! Congratulations to him on his endeavors. Cool beans! I don't know how to respond to any of this. Uh-huh. There in the track shed seems charged with some kind of horrible curiosity. What are you about to make me read? That's interesting. Have to take his word for it. Well, birds outside stop chirping. Even they're affected by this. The wind dies down. Somewhere a man is drinking a cup of coffee. He freezes with the cup at his lips. We're really actually doing this. Oh my sweet merciful Christ, oh goddamn saltine cracker. Okay. I'm just reading it. You guys can read it too. If I could somehow think of something funny to say, I will. My brain is in another dimension at this exact moment in time. I have to be perfectly honest with you all. When does the censorship come up? When does the jump ahead? At least they're actually also bringing that up, I suppose. It is a danger. Y'all still technically in the high ed school and all that business. Just gonna step by step, day at a time. Day at a time. I don't even know what that is! Is that shrimp? Also, I guess that they did that. Mild curiosity. The sudden switch from pleasure to pain causes me to lose my balance and I fall forward on top of Emmy. The mind wanders. Ow. Ow. Quickly roll off Emmy and prop myself up, breathing heavily. Try to ignore the pain in my crotch. Emmy yelps a little as she rolls over. Cool. I'm going to leave a very permanent indent in my left hand on this coin. Okie dokie. Good on them. I'm learning so much today. Why do I get the overwhelming sensation that the scene we skipped was more than slightly awkward? Yeah, you go ahead and do that, Emmy. You have yourself a time, have yourself a talk. You do that. Different strokes, different folks, Emmy. What works for one don't work for another. That's just a fundamental building block of life. Ridiculousness is not the word I would specifically use, but if it's what makes you comfortable. Well, at least it was an uproarious laughter. Look back at this moment and laugh as I just continue. I'm not even, like, I'm looking at the words, but once I'm done reading, I'm just looking at the keyboard at this point. Yeah. Never doing this again, right? Sure hope not. Yeah, I think my curiosity is satisfied on that one. I mean, odds, satisfied. Good. Should maybe stick to the basics, don't you? I mean, most of this is new to me anyway. What do you mean, most? Emmy grins impishly. Alright, I mean, I kind of figured, you know? That's totally cool and fair. I'll never tell. She is not a... Hey, that's her right. An unpleasant thought strikes me. Oh, get over yourself. What she has or has not done is completely has nothing to do with you. Even more unpleasant is the thought of having to ask Emmy about it, then hey, maybe keep it to yourself. If I could snap my fingers, you better believe I would've. So after what we've just done, it should be a cakewalk. Just don't go into details. Yeah, you go ahead and do that. In the sink? Not really anywhere else to do, is there? Jesus Christ! This is the most awkward conversation I've ever had. And imagine two people, you know, are having the single most awkward situation they've ever had in their entire lives. Absolutely no point before or after during the entire course of their lives will a moment be more awkward than this one. And now put yourself in the shoes of a man, listening to them do it and having no way to leave. I feel like that situation might be even more awkward for the third party. That's just my personal opinion. You are correct, sir. Yeah. Good. Cool beans. Cool list of beans. Can this scene end now? Cool. So, yep. Have fun with that. All right. Yep, that'll do. All right. Not gonna. Yep. Yep. So that's what they did instead of their morning run. My coin! Yep. Who knows where they are? 'Tis a mystery! I don't even want to know how that happened. Yeah, I bet she did. Cool, more or less. Frantic moment where neither of us knows where Emmy's wheelchair is, but I recall it going through the door and rescue it. And be more careful going through the door this time, would you? Bumps are not my friend right now. I'm so sorry we tried this. Emmy shrugs and grins. It was worth a shot, right? Anyway, it was good exercise. I've heard that it can be considered that. Can't argue that. Moving on with our lives. All right. Assuming we're done with that. As we make our way up to the nurse's office, I notice that Emmy keeps shifting uncomfortably in her seat. We're done. This feels weird. Yeah, I imagine being in a wheelchair would feel different than normal. That's definitely what we're talking about. Yep, cool. Making it hard for me to ignore. Why is that? Because now I don't have to explain to them. I am full of the chortles. I have mustard. Oh, we're never doing this again. The nurse is at least kind enough to not comment on the marks that Emmy left. Nor does he say a word about Emmy's constant shifting about in her new wheelchair. Either he didn't notice or he didn't want to notice. Could be both. All the same, I'm gonna have to make sure he didn't slip cyanide into my medication for a little while. Just to be safe. Longer than usual. Cool. Collapse onto the bed. Class in 20 minutes. Probably afford a nap. I've never been able to fall asleep for 20 minutes. That's a very interesting thing to attempt to do. But hey, if you're actually able to make it happen, good for you. Good for you. That was a thing. Oh God, the knocking on the door. Who's there? That's not how the joke goes at all. I already said who's there. More importantly, what time is it? Even more importantly, what day? I'm suddenly catapulted into wakefulness by both the fact that the knocking still hasn't stopped and the fact that it's noon on a school day. Now fully awake, I can remember why I was napping. You know, in retrospect, there's nothing stopping me from just literally cutting out that entire sequence. Just jump ahead. I don't think I will, but I want everyone to know that I could. It would be a hell of a lot easier than having to do all the things I'm going to have to do. Oh well, not fully awake, I can remember why I was napping. Better not give that excuse to Mutou. Sorry. I almost threw my damn mouse. Cool! Yeah, that'll go over well. I wonder how long this knocking is going to continue. Guess I gotta answer the door. Oh gee, who would have ever guessed it was this guy? I'm strangely unsurprised to see Kenji on the other side. It appears that Kenji is surprised to see me. What the hell are you doing in here, man? Well, I was sleeping. Kenji nods in understanding. Knocked out, I see. I told you to be careful around that Ibazarazaki chick, man. This is the sort of thing that happens when you aren't cautious. I feel as if that's not as much of a thing as you think that it is. It makes an attempt to look at the back of my head. Did she hit you with something? Or was it a drug? Stop trying to touch me. Kenji produces a flashlight and shines it in my eyes. You got a concussion? I wasn't knocked out. Maybe you just don't remember. This conversation isn't going anywhere. No, I just had a tiring morning and fell asleep. Whatever, man. If you want to be in denial about this, I guess I can't stop you. But you gotta watch out for that girl, man. She's not safe. She is something else. Something else. What? She's not safe to be around. She's one of their most sinister agents. If you're not careful, there's no telling what could happen. It's weird that I am actually welcoming his nonsense as a change of pace. She's brought down stronger men than you know. What the hell are you talking about? She's not an agent of anything and she didn't knock me out, okay? I also highly doubt that she's brought down anyone at all. Kenji looks almost offended. I have no idea why. You don't believe me? That's cold, man. Real cold. I'm just trying to look out for you. That's what friends do, you know? We're friends? I had no idea. Then again, I wonder if Kenji knows what being a friend even entails. I feel something like pity for him standing there before me. Maybe he does think he's looking out for me. That's a sad thought. I know. Sorry about that. Thanks for the warning. I hold out my hand as a sign of peace. Kenji shakes it gingerly, like my hand could possibly be on fire. There's an awkward silence for a few seconds before Kenji remembers that he's still shaking my hand. Anyway, I need a favor. What kind of favor? I'm out of money. No, you aren't. You got money kept in your desk drawer under a black notebook for emergencies. Did you ransack my room? That's not important. I don't need money anyway. He adopts a very serious tone. I'm about to undertake a major op. It'll blow the whole conspiracy wide open if I'm right. But it's dangerous, so I need you to do something for me in case I don't come back. Okay, that time it was because I accidentally put the coin somewhere that wasn't supposed to go and it fell. Sure, man, anything. What the hell is he planning on doing? Should I be telling someone about this? If I go missing, wait 3 days and then mail my journal off to the newspapers. It's hidden in my room under a false bottom in one of my desk drawers. How do I get into your room? I don't have a key. Kenji looks at me like I'm crazy. So pick the lock. You know how to do that, right? It's an important skill to learn at a young age. Yeah, of course I know how. I'll be sure to do that for you if you go missing. I don't think I want to read Kenji's journal. Either way, Kenji seems pretty happy that I've agreed to do things for him. Great, man, great. I'll see you around. I got stuff to do. And he's gone, dashing down the hallway. He made it seem so final. I hope I don't have to carry out his final wishes. Shaking my head, I close my door and walk back to my bed. Guess I should go to class if I want to catch the last half of the day. But I've come this far without going to class today. And I did want to read more of that Hawking book Mutou lent me. I'm sure he'll understand if I phrase it in the right way. Ah! This time the noise jerks my attention away from my book. An experience not unlike being woken up. Who's there? Me. Aren't you glad? On one hand, yes, you're obviously incredibly adorable and kind, and I like being around you. But on the other hand, if you're gonna start doing some crazy things again... Like, I've never literally, actually had to say this literally before. But could you keep your shirt on? The voice is muffled through the door, but it's unmistakably Emmy's. I hop up and open the door, smiling broadly. Hey, nice to see you again. Emmy grins back, staring up at me from her wheelchair. Yeah, you would have seen me earlier, but the damned elevator wasn't working. Had to wait for them to fix it. You'd think they'd keep it in better order, but no. I chuckle a bit at her vexed expression and invite her in. My room be mad boring. She wheels in easily, and with my help, she hops onto my bed. There. Well, that's more comfortable than that stupid chair. A sign of contentment hangs in the air, and for a minute, we both just stare at one another. It's at that point that I notice the circles around Emmy's eyes. They're not that dark, but they definitely weren't there before. Before I can ask about them, Emmy fixes me with a mischievous stare. So, couldn't help but notice you weren't at lunch today. In fact, I don't think I saw you at all. What happened? Fell asleep. I actually didn't wake up until lunch, and only then because Kenji woke me up. What had you so tired? Strenuous workout this morning. Slightly uncomfortable, too. Emmy coughs a half-laughing, half-embarrassed noise. Not that unlike that of a dolphin. Experiencing taxes, I guess. Remind me to not do that again. No problem. Wasn't exactly great for me either, to be honest. We'll just avoid that from now on. He's showing concern, and he's making me uncomfortable. Stares at me in disbelief. Oh, it's a legitimate question. Of all the questions I never thought I'd be asked, that's one of them. Well, I didn't expect to have to ask it, so we're even. Emmy laughs at this. I guess so, huh? Well, since you asked, yep, still a little sore. Never doing that again. No arguments. Hey, have you ever considered the possibility of a new line of conversation? A yawn escapes her and I raise an eyebrow. Tired? Emmy nods sleepily. Haven't slept well. Not sleeping well? I can tell that she didn't mean to tell me this either, because she gives a little start like she's just been caught lying and hastens to add. It's not a big deal, though. What's the trouble? Emmy shrugs and refuses to elaborate. She's getting a little annoyed. Stressed over exams? Another shrug, but after a pause, Emmy nods hesitantly. Yeah, I guess. Actually, that's why I stopped by. She begins to look more and more miserable. Not so you'd notice, of course, but her eyes are on her lap. She's fidgeting and her voice is quiet. We, need to stop hanging out so much. Why? Emmy takes a deep breath like she's been practicing this. Because you're too much fun to be around. And I can't concentrate when you're near me. Well, that's just cute! With exams coming up soon, I just can't have that distraction. Otherwise, my grades will be pretty lousy, I'm afraid. I could help you study. She smiles at me, clearly unhappy with the situation. I'd love it if you could, but we wouldn't actually study, would we? I mean, even now, I'm trying to have a conversation with you, but I kind of just want to, not converse. Overwhelmed by my rugged manliness, I understand. That earns me a grin, at least. Emmy shakes her head. Idiot. You're full of yourself. Well, I am pretty irresistible. More or less, I guess. So, that's the situation, Isao. I have too much fun around you, and if I'm gonna go into an exams prepared, I need to be alone. Hey, that's okay. Only seems to have been bothering her. Besides, it's only a couple of weeks. We'll still see each other in the mornings and at lunch. We'll just hang out at school, no problem. And after exams, we'll go on a date to celebrate their being over, okay? Emmy grins, pleased by this proposal. Yeah, sure, that sounds great. As if to signal the end of the conversation, she leans in and kisses me. That's very nice, very nice. The rest of the night is not spent worrying about exams. Why do they keep doing this to me? Stimpy! Why? Oh. It's weird how easily Emmy and I can keep from seeing one another after class now. Actually, I'd venture to say that it's vaguely disturbing. As easily as we'd come together, we seem to have split apart without much trouble. Well, I guess that's not exactly true. We've both been pretty bummed after that last night together. And we get to see each other every morning for our runs. And just our runs, I might add. What, are you writing all this down in a journal? Who puts something in parentheses? Or I don't even know what these are. The little brackets or whatever. Who does that mentally? I don't put quotation marks around things that I think. Lunch too. I especially enjoy lunchtime with her. We have plenty of time to talk about everything outside of school, whereas the morning runs have become increasingly businesslike. I think it's because Emmy wants to make up for our foolery in the storage shed. But no matter how much we joke at lunch, I can't help feeling a little worried about her. She seems distracted more often, and I've got her fidgeting more nervously more than once. Never figured her to be someone who cared that deeply about exams, but they certainly seem to be taking their toll. I don't think it's exactly that. They might be a factor, but not entirely. Even though they haven't even started. This is just the run-up. The deep breath before the plunge. Tomorrow the real trial begins. Or the real exams, anyway. As for me, I actually don't feel that worried about exams at all. I'm not sure why. I mean, they're pretty important. My scores here will determine my odds of getting into a good university. Hell, if I'm too cavalier now, it could spell doom for my academic career. But going into them, I feel confident I'll come out the other side okay. Mutou thinks I've got the science examination locked up at any rate. Or as he says, the last thing should give you trouble is my exam. Is how? It's way beneath your talents. Then again, it is Mutou who's telling me this. His praise of me carries the veiled implication that anything less than perfect form from me would be disappointment, which has actually caused me to fret more than I should about the exam. Luckily, the world stopped being in black and white. It's for that reason I find myself in the library after class poring over the textbook. Pretty simple, things to look over, some formulas of velocity, a few bits about friction, a walk in the park compared to my dreaded English exam. Never was good with languages. And once again, it's always hilarious when a character that is in Japan is like, man, English sure is confusing, despite the fact that this game is translated into perfect English. Even though I think that this game actually started in English? I'm pretty sure this was I think it was American creation. Not sure, actually. I have to look into it. As I flip through my notes one more time, my mind begins to wander. After these exams are over, things should get easier. Soon we'll be graduated, and off to college, hopefully. I remember my abortive attempt to find out what Emmy plans to do after high school. She avoided the subject pretty deftly, as I recall. Heck, it seems that just about every time I push too hard, she dances around the subject. Or distracts me through other means. Like a few days ago at lunch when Bryn wasn't around. Ah! I've done it! I've startled from my reverie by Yuko's triumphant shout. Gah! Yuko seems mortified at my sudden starting. Oh my god! I'm so sorry, I wasn't really, it's just, as she stutters, I move to quickly calm her down before she gets too agitated. Whoa, hey! My words seem ineffective. Yuko continues to work herself into a complete frenzy. And it's a library and I shouldn't be, easy there! Just calm yourself. Really, I'm setting a bad example and now I'll get fired because I can't do anything right. Yuko! Shouting seems to work, though I draw the ire of several other students studying in the library. Yuko snaps to attention like a soldier who's just heard the captain barking an order. Sorry. Calm down, it's okay. It just startled me a little. And it's only because I was daydreaming instead of studying. So really, you got me back on task. This is a complete lie, but it seems to work. Yuko takes a deep breath and seems to calm down a little. Then she keeps shifting around with a nervous energy that seems awfully familiar. So what's got you so excited anyway? The Yamaku cat burglar! To her credit, Yuko manages to convey her intense excitement in a whisper. I think I know who it is. I got an anonymous tip as to their identity. So I did some spying, and I think the tipster was right. Really? And who was this, burglar? Yuko shuts her mouth, shaking her head derisively or something. Yeah, decisively. Nope, can't tell you that. Why not? It's between me and the burglar. I can't risk you warning him that I'm on his game. He could tip his hand early and blow down. Then I'm left with no perp. When did Yuko start talking like a hard-boiled detective? I wouldn't warn them, why would I care? If you gotta ask that question, then you don't need to know. Doesn't make any sense, but okay. Congratulations, I guess? Thanks. What for? The, cat burglar thing? Yuko nods and smiles appreciatively. So, studying for exams? Well, that was the plan. Not having much luck, though. Really? Is it because you can't find a book? Reading Rainbow? I'm really sorry. I've been meaning to clear the shelves up for weeks, but I keep forgetting getting distracted. So sorry. Whoa, wait, it's not that. Got my book right here. To illustrate the point and hopefully calm Yuko down, I show her the textbook in front of me. My mind just keeps wandering is all. Is it because of the noise in here? I'm trying to be more strict about the noise levels, but I can't bring myself to yell at people. I mean, aren't their lives hard enough without me throwing my authority around? No, it's not the noise level either, I promise. I'm just, hell, I don't know. Worried about Emmy. Worried about us. Worried about what happens after we graduate. Emmy's been kind of weird lately. Well, what do you mean? Well, you know how we're dating now? I just don't know that we're actually, you know, a couple. Or at least, I don't know that we're beyond friends. Though friends normally don't do the sort of things we do. Physically, we're a couple. Coupling, at least. It's like every time I try to find out more about her, or about what she wants to do with her life, she dodges the question. Like the other day, I was talking to her at lunch about some schools I've been looking into, and I asked her, have you looked into any schools lately? She shrugged in response, said no, and when I asked why not, she says that she doesn't think that far ahead. I asked why she had that policy, and I suddenly realized what I'm starting to describe and wisely decided to clam up. She what? Yeah, she changed the subject. Wouldn't talk about it. Maybe it's an uncomfortable subject for her. Or she just doesn't think it needs explaining. Yeah, but it's not just that. Every time I try to find out what's bothering her, she changes the subject too. It's like she's being with me, but not getting close to me. Now that I've said it out loud, I feel worse. You could digest this bit of information. You know, it seems to me that you're more serious about this than she is. I could almost feel my stomach twist into a knot. She's right. That's exactly what it seems like. Is that really what's going on? I mean, sorry, I'm just talking nonsense. You shouldn't take my advice. You barely know me. Honestly, I think I might have had more lines of dialogue with you than I have Lily and Hanako at this particular juncture. So, I'm just a librarian, and I'm single, so you can imagine I can't know what I'm talking about. No, I think you have a point. As much as it hurts to even consider it. Yuko seems to try desperately to find a way to soften the blow somewhat. Look, I'm probably wrong, but if you want to be sure of how obviously wrong I am, maybe you should just talk to her. Get some time alone and just ask about it. And don't let her change the subject either. Yeah, maybe I should do that. Or maybe I should just enjoy what I have. We have fun hanging out after all. And the runs are nice, and the other exercises are nice, and talking to her is nice. Do I really need to get closer to her? What I've got right now is pretty good. But that's silly. I want to get closer to her. I want to be able to help her with whatever's bothering her. Maybe I should wait until after exams are over. Maybe she'll brighten up once the stress is past. If she does, then I don't need to worry about it anymore. But if she doesn't, well, I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. I thank Yuko for her advice and head back to my room. That's a nice lady. Very, very, very paranoid, but still, nice. Maybe I'll be able to concentrate more on my studies in there. The next day, or maybe the day after the next day, or the one after that, I honestly don't know. Space is warped and time is bendable. I leave the room after finishing my final exam and breathe a sigh of relief. As I'd hoped, the exams weren't so bad. I managed to breeze through just about everything but the English final. But even that was acceptable. Wonder how Emmy did. Even more so, how she's doing. She looked terrible at lunch today. I mean, she was pretty happy to be out of her wheelchair, but she looked so exhausted. Also, man, audio got mad loud. Something's been wearing her down. I'm starting to really doubt that it was just the exams. Should I confront her about this, though? My music is interrupted by a tap on the shoulder. Hey, Sal. Got a minute? I suppose it's okay. Sure. Yeah, I've got some time. No more important to be or anything like that. Mutou raises an eyebrow as if questioning my statement, then beckons me back into the classroom. I want to get some feedback from you if I could. I know that this course wasn't quite up to your level. Don't worry about it. The science club activities more than made up for it. Did they? Well, in fact, that's what I wanted to talk to you about. Do you think that was a worthwhile activity? Just for my own reference? Well, yeah, it was a great way to go further than we did in class. It was definitely worthwhile. Mutou seems delighted by my response. That's great. Exactly the sort of thing I was hoping for. Now, Sal, I'm glad you came here. It's always good to have a student who really gets into the subject you teach. In a way, it makes dealing with the rest of the students more tolerable. You're a bright kid, too. Stuck to this stuff like a duck to water. Some other such simile. Thanks. You were a great help, especially with that college stuff. There's one thing, more thing, Sal. A bit of advice from one scientist to another. What's that? What does a scientist do? Observe the world around him. Exactly. Good. A simple question, but one that most people can't seem to answer. And that's the essence of a scientist, Sal. I feel like this might come in handy. We observe what's there and try to figure it out. What if there's something you can't figure out? What's a scientist to do if he can't observe something? How, for example, can we talk about quarks when nobody has ever actually seen one? Or black holes when observing them directly is impossible? Well, scientific equipment's pretty advanced. Mutou irritably waves away my response. No, that's not it at all. Those are tools. I'm trying to give you a philosophy. Think. If you can't observe something directly, then how can you observe it? Guess? How? How would you guess the movement of a quark? What is your guess based on? Of course. I should have thought of it earlier. The thing it affects. Mutou claps his hands together excitedly and whoops! Yes, exactly. Good. Remember that, Hisao. If you can't examine something directly, it's because you're looking at it wrong. You have to look at it differently if you want to uncover the truth. And if it eludes you, then look at what it leaves behind. That is the essence of being a scientist. We never stop looking for the answer. Never take anything for granted. Observe, experiment, and observe some more. There's a lot of stuff out there that makes no sense, Hisao. Your job is to get it to make sense. If nothing else, I hope you've learned that here. I think I can remember that. Mutou smiles, satisfied. Good. Now go enjoy your time off. You've earned it. I leave the room feeling a little confused. What brought that on? Although, am I going about this thing with Emmy the wrong way? If she won't tell me, then can I go about it some other way? The question keeps spinning in my head even after I've made my way back to my room. What if she gets angry about it? Besides, what if it's nothing? If I go in and refuse to leave until she tells me what's wrong or something, won't that come off as clingy? I don't want to start a fight or anything over something like this. Maybe I should just drop the matter and see how she is tomorrow before I do anything. Would it be so bad to just let it go? It's not like we don't enjoy each other's company. But as it sounds, I really want to help her. I don't even know what with or if there's anything at all she needs help for. But I want to. Yeah. Suddenly, a knock at my door rouses me. And it's this guy. I open it to see Kenji. Oh, it's you. It's me. That's it? If you had any idea what I'd been through, what I'd done, you'd be happier to see me, dude. I mean, that was some epic you may never see me again stuff. And here you're just acting like I went down to the store for some milk. You're a cold man, Hisao. I really respect that. Thanks, I guess. It's smart to play it safe, you know. Don't show any emotion. Keep your cards close to your chest. Unless it's time to show your cards or you have bad cards. Then you should fold or collect your winnings. Do you understand? Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I take it the mission went well. Whoa, awfully nosy of you, isn't it? You can't just go saying things like that. Things are at a delicate stage. One wrong move and bam, the invasion succeeds. Thought you were gonna blow the conspiracy wide open. It's bigger than I thought. I need to update my charts and probably change some of the puppets around. You wanna help? I've got some whiskey from somewhere. No. You can fill me in on everything your investigation has turned up. Better not. I'm supposed to meet her today. Gotta do that. Can't raise suspicion. Kenji nods in approval. Still keeping close to the chest, eh? Okay, man. I respect that. Good luck. Thanks. I'm just gonna pretend for the sake of my own sanity that he's wishing me luck in talking to Emmy. And if I squint, that whole card analogy he was talking about works here. Time to lay it all on the table. Or see if I can't get Emmy to do so, rather. This is probably gonna go to places. Oh boy. Okay. With a sense of something approaching purpose, I head for Emmy's room. I help up the stairs leading to her room and knock on her door. Who's there? That's odd. Her voice sounds a little choked. Hey, it's me. Thought I'd stop by. Sal? Come on in. I reach down to open the door only to find that it's locked. More and more curious. Your door's locked. Oh yeah, sorry. Give me a minute. The music is not in a great place. In a few moments, Emmy opens the door grinning. Sorry, had to put my legs on. I was napping. Despite her grin, there's something off. Emmy's eyes are slightly red, and it looks like she's been crying. Hey, no problem. You okay? Yeah, I'm fine. It's just that you look like you've been crying. Oh yeah, so you're off to a great start on this one. Nah, I'm fine. I'm just happy to see you. I mean, that is nice and everything, but it also definitely feels like more of a distraction tactic now, doesn't it? I know what she wants to do now, and I'm also painfully aware how badly I want to do it too, but I break the kiss with a wrench of self-control that nearly kills me. Hey, wait. Emmy's eyes crinkle in confusion. Wait for what? We need to talk. Isn't that supposed to be my line? And never a good thing to say? She's got a point. It's usually the lead into a breakup, and I can only hope that it's not! Or the prelude to a fight. Maybe it can be a good thing this time? That's the hope, anyway. Can we at least get onto the bed? It's my first day back on these things, and I'm still readjusting. Plus, the nurse said I should try to be on them less often since running puts such a strain on them. Can't argue with that. It's a trap. We both know it, and we both don't care. And again, it's awfully hard to get angry while in a bed and with the object of your affections, so maybe that's the motivation too. I set Emmy's legs by the bedside and sit down next to her, throwing an arm around her shoulders. In silence, we just enjoy being able to be in the position again for a few minutes. Then, of course, I need to ruin it by opening my mouth. Oh, this music is making me feel all the types of ominous and dread. Look, I know that you've been having kind of a rough time of it lately, and I want to help you out. I thought it was just exams getting to you, but now I come to your room and you've been crying, and that kills me. But I can't do anything if you won't talk to me about it. I told you I'm fine. No, you aren't. It's obvious there's something eating at you. You can tell me, you know? There's the slightest increase in tension in Emmy's voice. Why is my saying I'm fine not good enough? You're concerned, I get that. That's cool. But I'm fine, and it's nothing that you need to worry about. Not sleeping and spacing out more than Rin doesn't strike me as being fine. I just want to help. Uh-huh. Yeah, I don't like seeing you like this. I want you to be happy, you know? I get the feeling that came out wrong because Emmy fixes me with an icy stare. Oh boy, this is gonna be a new type of awkward. So you want to fix me, Hisao? She's definitely getting angry now. Want to swoop in on your white charger and save the day? Stop the nightmares, the phantom limb pains? Restore what's lost? Her voice catches in her throat and the tears start to flow. Well, you can't. Nobody can. Nobody will. I'm so stunned by her sudden verbal assault that I remain quiet. Neither of us say anything for a while. I'm surprised that Emmy tightens her grip on me rather than pushing me away. After a deep breath, she starts talking again. Look, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's just, there's these nightmares about the accident. Ah, the accident. Should have known. Took her legs after all, but it never comes up, of course. And I usually deal with them fine because I can run. Running clears my head like nothing else. I don't have to worry about anything while I'm running. I just concentrate on breathing, on the rhythm of things. It's easier that way. Life is easier that way. Just keep moving forwards, you know? Nothing else matters, just getting around the next curve. And then it's the next curve, and the next, until I can't go anymore, or think anymore, or do anything but slow down and walk until I catch my breath again. After something like that, nothing else matters. But I've been stuck in that goddamn wheelchair for too long. So no outlet. Today just kind of boiled over a little. Could have talked to me about it, you know? You didn't have to go it alone. Emmy smiles sadly, like she's trying to explain to a child that all fire burns. Yeah, I did. And I do. But why? Why do you have to keep going through this alone? Why can't you just trust me enough to let me help you? That smile again. Emmy leans in and kisses me on the cheek, an almost motherly gesture. She leaves her mouth close to my ear as she confesses this one thing to me. Because, Hisao, I've already had everything I knew ripped away from me once. I don't know what I'd do if it happened again. She pauses as if uncertain as to whether or not she should continue. I can feel a violent churning in my gut. She continues. So I can't rely on you, or the nurse, or anyone else. Just me. That's how it's got to be. Having delivered this short speech, she looks down and covers her mouth with the back of her hand. The conversation is clearly over. I search for something to say, but can't think of anything. Maybe I should go, for now. I've got stuff. Emmy doesn't even look up. She sounds tired, or relieved. I can't tell which. Okay, so go take care of that stuff. I'll see you tomorrow. I get off the bed and head for the door, pausing at the doorway. Hey, Emmy? Yeah? 1,000 things I want to say. I'm too mixed up to say any of them, though. After her admitting that she'll never let me close, I feel like my world's just been ripped out from me. What happened in that accident? I know she lost her legs, but that's never seemed to bother her. I get the overwhelming impression she lost her father, too, given all the context clues. What happened there? What scares a girl so badly that she won't accept help, even from someone she loves? I don't know, but I want to know. I want to know so badly that being denied that answer feels like a knife in my guts. Hisao? You were saying? I'm still standing in the doorway. Nothing. Never mind. And I'm closing the door. And walking down the hallway. Down the stairs. Out the door. Into the dark. Somehow I wandered back into my own room. My brains are doing a mile a minute, going nowhere fast. I can't figure out how to deal with this. I thought that moving forward was a good thing. Dwelling less on the past that I can't change, living in the present and looking at the future. After this thing with Emmy, I'm not sure anymore. She was saying the truth. It's simpler to look at the next curve, ignoring the path gone by. No worry about the opponent left behind. No care for the spectators on the sidelines. Unfortunately, no time to watch out for lagging teammates either. I throw myself down on the bed, looking at one of the corner of my ceiling as if the answer I want were written there. I have no idea what the answer to any of this is. I'm honestly just more kind of intrigued and deeply invested in continuing reading so I can see for myself. I don't know if I actually pointed it out, but this is actually a very well-written story, at least I personally feel. No such luck, of course. She's literally running away from something. But have I not been doing the same then? Trying my best to forget about my hospitalization? I am getting better, but my health isn't going to magically fix itself. Emmy has 2 legs instead of a heart to deal with, but those aren't going to magically fix themselves either. Maybe this is just as fixed as the both of us can get. The room becomes darker and darker until I can't really tell what that I'm looking at a corner anymore.